Welcome back, peoples. As you can see, I've taken most of the bodywork back off the bike. Today I'm going to be changing out the chain and sprockets. A couple other things that we're going to swap while we're doing this. Captive wheel spacers we're going to install, which will make it easier when we take the wheels off and change the tires. We don't have to keep up with the spacers. They'll stay locked into the wheel. We're going to put the AB SBS rear race and brake pads on. We've been running Vortex since 2007 on all of the 600s, 300s, 400s that we've had. Run aluminum rear sprockets. Yes, they wear out quicker than the steel. We've never had any issues with them. Centrifugal weight of the rear wheel is less running the aluminum versus the steel. We got a kit that comes with a rear sprocket, front sprocket, and a chain. We got a couple of extra sprockets for the front and the rear, and an extra chain. So with that said, we'll get started. First thing we got to do is remove this cover, which will give us access to the front sprocket. Get that nut broke loose before we remove the rear wheel. We've got a tab right here that we've got to bend down to get that sprocket off. So now we got that nut off, we'll go to the back and do the rest of it. But to get this nut off without having something to hold the sprocket and everything in place, it's a little tough. These spacers right here are the ones that always fall out. The captive spacers that I've got to put in here will keep this from happening. You have one on this side and one on the other side. With the rear wheel off, and we can now get this out. We won't be reusing this. And we'll actually grind the chain down. A couple of these will grind down, pop it loose so we can separate the chain and install the new one. I think I'm going to clean all this up a little bit though before I put it back together. Okay, got everything cleaned up here. We'll get the front sprocket. Put the lock washer on there, or the tab washer, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to go back and put some Loctite on this a little later. I want to get the chain off of it now. So I've already grounded the ends off of two of the studs. So I'll take this chain tool, pop these rivets out. This makes it easier grinding them down and just trying to push them through. Oh, we got the old chain off. Throw this away, it's not reusable. It's not reusable. And then we'll go over to the rear wheel, change the sprockets, and install the captive spacers. All right, and clean this seal up a little bit. A little grease around the lip. This is the old spacer. This is a captive. This one's got a little lip on it. So once you press it in there, that lip holes behind the seal keeps it from coming out. And that's it. Again, that's the old one. This is a new one. You got that little lip, just enough for that seal to hold it in place. Just twist it a little bit, push it down. And there you got it. Take this rear sprocket off. Vortex sprocket. The weight difference in these two it's a good amount. This is steel and this is aluminum. Like I said, this one will wear out quicker than this, but we change them pretty often depending on the tracks we're at. So they still last us a good while. The sprocket, spacer on each side. I'll put the wheel back in and get the chain put on. All right, before I install the rear tire, I'm gonna go ahead and change these brake pads out. All right, got the tire in place, wheel in place. I use this as a ramp. Just kind of helps get the tire up into a position. Pitbull actually makes a bracket that goes here. Makes it a little easier as well. And I tighten it up by hand until we get the chain in place. Okay, I have a chain on. I don't have it adjusted yet, but on the rear wheel you can see the marks, and I've got it about halfway. That'll allow me to drop one in the front or go up one in the rear without really having to change the chain. We do have another chain just in case we need some different gearing, but right now 44 is what we're running at Jennings on the rear, so I'll put it about right in the middle. And then I've already cut the chain to length. I had to cut 2 links out of this one. This was a 118 chain. So we have a 116 and a 112. Yep, got that on. So now just got to put the link in, get it fastened together. With the chain, of course, you get a link to connect them back together, which has 4 O-rings on it and a little grease pack. So you put the greasy O-rings on the link together. Grease also helps holding these O-rings in place. You definitely need a chain tool for this. You gotta make sure that the rivets that are coming through on the back side line up with these holes so you don't mess them up. What I do is I use a set of calipers and I'll mic one of the other links on the chain, and then once I tighten this up and squeeze it, you don't want to squeeze it too tight, it'll lock the chain up. So in order for me to make sure I'm the same as the rest of them, I'll use calipers, and then I'll run this in until I get the same. Do it. It's a little time consuming, but if you go too far, it's hard to get it back off. So we got them. Now all we have to do is smash the ends. All right, the tool now got it set up. This here holds the pin from the back side, or the rivet, whatever you want to call it. And then this piece here that comes through actually flares that out. That's what holds this cap from coming off. They put it on like that. One thing to be sure of, don't go too far with this, because then you'll start splitting that rivet. And then you have to start over. But you have to do it enough to where it won't come off. And that's it. Just always double check these, make sure you got a good edge on them, and check to make sure you didn't split it. The last thing you want this happen is the chain to fly off of this. That's it on that. We'll adjust the chain in just a second. All right, so pull down on it, want to go to the center of the rivet. So that's about 2 7/8, and then when we go up, it's 7/8. So right now we got about a 2 inch. So we need to go back with it a little bit. The way we do that, so we take this, run it back, and then we do the same on the other side. You can see right here, this line on the block lines up with that, which is, I think it's 8 total one. We're on the 4th one from the rear. So I need to make the other side the same. Take another measurement. Two 7/8. Still need to come back some more. Put this alignment tool on here. You want to make sure it's parallel this way with the chain. And what we're looking for is for this rod to run parallel with that chain. And right there is pretty close. So we'll hold it forward. So that's about 1.25 inches. So that's right between the 1.2 and the 1.6. To me, it's a little snug. I like running at 1.5. So we'll adjust that out, and then we'll be done with that. So once we have the tension on the chain right, we're going to get chain adjusters for these. They just haven't come in yet. Seems like they're all on back order. Then we'll check the torque on this axle nut. Get in enough so the Carter key, we don't use the Carter key, we use like the safety pins, hold these nuts. Better safe than sorry. Don't want that bad boy backing off. The front sprocket, rear axle, chains adjusted, everything is torqued down. What I'm going to do now is put the cover back on the front sprocket. We don't have to run it. I just run it because it keeps all the grease and stuff from slinging all up around the engine. This will catch most of it. I use a little blue Loctite on these just to kind of make sure they don't go anywhere. So there it is. Sprockets, chain, rear brake pads, all done.